Thank you, team, for joining us for this panel discussion today. I think I have to definitely give kudos to Hari, Chameli, and the SaaS Insider team to put together an amazing DevCon event. Unlike other events, I think it's a great combination of engineering leaders and founders coming together largely to share the kind of direction in them building some of the data and AI products. And you've got an esteemed panelist around with us today in the table, and we'll try to have this conversation. We'll have some very interesting questions. We'll also open up the forum towards the end of the panel where you could also kind of share your inputs or insights, and feel free to ask any question to the panelists out here. Without further ado, I would like to, so grateful to have Venki. He's the VP at ZoomInfo, been an engineer, been developing data products. We got Arvind, who's the co-founder and CTO at Factors.ai. Anish, VP at 6D, and Vasant from Dell. It's a great combination of companies, enterprises, new age startups, and data leaders, and telecom data companies who have come and solving some very interesting solutions. Without further ado, I think today as data leaders or engineers and founders, right, we are kind of talking about AI and Gen AI probably. Every sentence starts and ends with it, right? But if you really look at what is the fuel which is going to power this AI and Gen AI is data. And I think that's where most of the data leaders is trying to modernize and simplify it, because you have this real conversation with the data leaders, which we'll have today. They're all trying to bring in data from different sources and put in the right context to the users in real time. If you don't do that, then the ability to innovate or disrupt, or the true value what you want to provide to your users, get lost. With that background, probably I want to first jump into Venki. You guys have very successfully built out a $1 billion company by just leveraging the power of data. So if you can talk about a little bit how you have done it, the challenges, I think that'll be a great start for us.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Alex, for having me. Pleasure to be here. As you know, ZoomInfo is a B2B company which provides both company and personal data. We have multiple flavors of our products, sales, which enables the sales professional, SDRs, AEAMs. We have a marketing flavor which provides a lot of data, like you can do marketing campaigns and things like that. We have a talent offering which is providing HR and recruiters to recruit people. And we also sell, last but not the least, we also sell data as a service, right? So to your point, I think we are one of the, I would say, the public companies which have really grown just based on data, right? Yeah. And all the wrappers I spoke about, if you peel that, underlying is all data, right? And we are talking about tens of terabytes of data that resides. I think the challenges you spoke about is multifold, right? One is, to your point, how do we collect this data? For us, it's about multiple sources of data that comes in almost 24/7 from our bots that goes around the web, crawls the web, gets the data. We have our own partners who provide us data to us, and we buy in and feed it as bulk. We also have like a community, like people like in this hall, who give their data by their willingness, and we collect data from them. We also scrape their emails, not the data of their subject of the emails or the data there, but when somebody sends them a data email, we review that, and we get the visiting card data from that, and we feed into data. So multiple sources, but last but not the least, our own manual data researchers, right, who go and get the scoops and many other data. So that's a data pipeline, data input we are speaking about, right? Just to give an idea of the scale of this, we are every day, these data points I spoke about, we are looking at around 1 to 1.5 billion points of data that we get into our system.
Wow.
This is like company profiles. We are talking about 650 million to 750 million company data coming in, around 1.2 to 1.3 billion contact info. When I say that, phone numbers, emails, your job changes, everything about personal information, right? That's coming in. But that's the data that comes in. All of these are not kosher or pristine, right? So the data researchers I spoke about and a lot of other tools that we have, in a way, collects this data and then looks at it, deduplicating data, and then also in a way validating how much of this data is true, so that we then present to the customers. Yep. So almost, I would say, 40-50% of the data is crap. or already we have the data. So how do we, in a way, cleanse the data, feed into our database, update it, enrich, and then present to the customers through the 3 or 4 offerings that I spoke about, right? So that's a scale of the data that we are speaking about. And when we touch upon the AI, we have our latest Gen AI offering, what we call as a Copilot, which is like looking at all this data that's coming in as signals, right?
Yeah.
When I talk about signals, for example, a company has got a funding, or company is creating a new headquarters, for example, in Pune or Bangalore, or these are company signals that I'm speaking on. Personal signal is, hey, you are switching a job, right? Or you become a new VP or sales in another company. That's a signal on a personal level, right? So there are multitude of these signals that come in. How do you then take all these signals, validate it as we spoke about the pipeline, and then suggest actions to the end customer? Hey, this VP of sales from one company has shifted to another company, and he was your ex-customer. So as SDR logs in the morning, he's seeing a new pop-up saying that, hey, one of your present customer is shifted to another company.
Correct.
Why don't you reach out to them, right? And immediately the SDR is thinking, what did I do, right? The popping up is not enough, because that's obviously you can do easily. How do you then create suggested actions? See, there are emails that's already created, like a ChatGPT, there's already an email created, you want to send it. There is a phone call with this data that you want to send it. There's an offering that I have, because this company is a little different. I have a preloaded offering that I have from your database. Can I send it to them, right? So what we are talking about is end-to-end, where the data that we spoke about, billions and terabytes of data, then you, in a way, enrich it, then making sure that you can get actions out of it. And that's the end goal of all the AI applications, right? So, and then presenting that actions in a prioritized order. We can't throw all the actions, right? So I think that end-to-end is the challenge we are speaking about. Are we there yet? Absolutely not. To your point, we have the best data. I think we are still figuring out very early days of how the Gen AI and others come in and help us. First help us, then help our customers, Alex.
Absolutely, right? I think that's one common theme we have seen across as well, like, how do you get the right information with the right context to your users? It has to be real time. So your sales or your users, they want to know like today, right now, and not 3 months later, right? So with that, Arvind, coming to you, you've been a founder, building out a very successful SaaS company out of Bangalore. Congratulations, by the way. So can you tell us like what is the unique problem you are solving for your customers and users, and a little bit how this data coming together and you're making sense out of it?
Sure. Firstly, thanks for having me here. Yeah, I mean, building upon what Venkat said, we are also in a similar space, but we are more focused on B2B marketers.
Okay.
And now a marketing person, in order to effectively run a campaign, right? Like if you want to build any intelligent system that can kind of understand the data and the signals out of it, and then build workflows on top of it. I mean, it should be able to kind of take a high-level task and then break it down into multiple tasks, but it has to reason, and it has to reason with data, right? So, and there's data and there's signals on top of data, right? And let's say if you have a marketing person who wants to say, I want to optimize my search campaigns, right? Or what's going wrong there. Now you want all your first party data, which is basically what campaigns am I running? What's the spend over there? How many clicks I'm getting over there? Are the clicks that's coming into my website, are they from the right accounts? And for those, we need a lot more third-party data and third-party intent, which like companies like ZoomInfo provide. So we have to bring in that data. And then we have to kind of marry it with, okay, why is this not working, right? Are they reading about the right topics? What is it that they're interested in? And what CRM data, how many of them are actually becoming a demo or a deal and so on, right? So you have to kind of take all of this first party data and then marry it together, join it together, and then take some action on top of it, right? And then figure out, okay, you might not even be getting the right kind of accounts on your website. Or you might, you're not running a retargeting on them. They're showing intent, but you're not doing anything on top of it, right? So all of this, we believe that this kind of high-level reasoning an autonomous agent would be able to do. But in order to do that, it needs to have a good data backing. And that data backing shouldn't be siloed. We have to kind of join them all together and give the entire picture of the journey. And based on that, it should be able to run the required queries on top of it,
Yep.
and reason using that, and then take action.
Yes.
Right? And that's where, as a startup at least, we feel that having a single data store for all the data and joining on top of it, and not going with a very siloed microservice kind of approach,
Got it.
helps quite a bit in going forward.
Superb. So that is becoming literally the secret success, the recipe for you to build out
Yeah.
this data offering for your customers. Right. Excellent.
Yes, correct.
And we also got Vasant in the room. You've been a data veteran for the last 25 years. So data is existed, right? Like for the last 30, 40, 50 years, but the database has been a huge evolution, which you have seen in that side.
Exactly.
So how probably as Dell and from your perspective, with the modern world, right? These are like companies who are using data to make revenue. What has been your perspective when you look at the 3 generation of databases?
Oh yeah, it's a long journey. Like way back, like 25 years back, probably spinning up a database used to take like a month. So we had to procure server, generate PO. It used to be like Solaris and legacy systems.
Yeah.
And then it moved on to the Linux era with eliminating the proprietary software onto the
Not able to hear?
open source. Is it audible now?
Yeah, it's better, yes.
Yeah. Moving on to the open source era in the probably 2005, 2010, and then on to the VMware world. We are like probably in 2015 era, and at the same time we also got this data revolution, wherein which the big data picked up in 2010 with Hadoop coming in picture, and many of these new age databases coming in. With Hadoop coming into the picture and new age databases coming into the picture, and so it's a revolution now. Like people want a platform to be set up within minutes, probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Like especially the startups, new age startups, they don't want to wait months together to get a database spin up. So they want like within 5 to 10 minutes they want. So even enterprises like Dell are like employing such scenarios. Like we are moving away from VMs like to even Kubernetes, so that we are able to deploy, provide databases within 10-15 minutes for the internal customers. Most of the for the internal customers.
Thank you. Thanks, Vasant, for
Thank
that.
you.
Right. And Anish, you come from an industry where telecom, where you've been kind of dealing with billions of data even 10 years back.
As you
right?
said, Alex, actually, thanks for having me. Okay, so you mentioned the three generation of databases. You mentioned something like that. So right now, X6D, I'm working 6D technology as a my telecom side. Okay, actually, I'm working with I faced this 3 generation of database. From this starting with first generation of database, I can say telecom industry. You can say everyone knows first generation of database, something like a structured database, pure relational database. Like when you are hearing, when you are starting with my career, always think that Oracle or MySQL, these are the starting relational database. So no one can, I think, disagree, I don't know. Okay, fine, starting with, then now, when you are coming to the telecom, you know that everyone know that we are getting a very huge volume of data from the telecom, with the different network side, and IoT devices. These are the kind of deployment we are doing in India. And structured database, we are also a lot of problems we are facing nowadays. Like a basic example, everyone knows how to scale the database when the data is growing. That is one of the common problems everyone is facing, how to scale out or scale up. There is no possibility right now to doing a normal structured database, like relation database. Now, next generation, second generation. Now coming to second generation, it's a NoSQL kind of database are introduced. Maybe NoSQL, normally people are came to okay, immediately my mind is coming Cassandra kind of things. No key value kind of database are coming into the picture, NoSQL. Then there are a lot of caching mechanism people are doing. If they are doing with a normal relational database, on top of that they are using kind of in-memory kind of database they are using, like of Redis kind of things people are using. Right now, it's not like that no one is using right now. Still people are using kind of Oracle, MySQL, or Redis cache, everything people are using. So now, then advantage of this NoSQL database, something like a real-time processing kind of things, That times, normally telecom industry, we are using like of Kafka kind of real streaming applications to connect into the downstream applications. So NoSQL database second generation onwards, that the data volumes are increasing like 3G, 4G. Nowadays is 4G, 5G era. So we are getting very, it's I think like we can say that billions of kind of data we are getting per day.
Yeah.
So how to manage this kind of data? So when you are managing this kind of data in a data platform architecture, it is difficult to maintain like one database. Every use case, a different database available in the market. Suppose I can say that, okay, so NoSQL kind of key value, I need a immediate kind of unstructured data. I need to go with some kind of database I need to go.
Yeah.
Or something analytical workload.
Yes.
So I need to go for some other database. So finally what happened is when deployment happens, we have to go for the database maintenance is very difficult task for us. Different database administrator is required to maintain the day-to-day the kind of database health.
Yeah.
So finally the third generation is coming to is a new SQL kind of things. Third generation is a new SQL. It's a kind of a big data kind of platform is coming to the picture. So one database can do everything. What I'm feeling is a lot of distributed, I can say that it's a distributed SQL database. Like a structured database is something I'm putting first generation. Now coming to second generation, the NoSQL kind of database introduced. Then third generation, now we are in third generation, now we can see that there is a distributed SQL database. We can scale out the database on the fly. It's not like normally we are doing with the vertical scaling. Now we can scale out the database with the both workload. I can say OLTP, maybe telecom industry, everywhere. It's not only telecom. There is two types of workload, like OLTP, online transaction processing, and analytical processing. So as I said, like when you are preparing initially, when you are sitting with my pre-sales team, what you are doing is like a BOQ. It's my experience I'm sharing here. Okay, so application database. Okay, is application database? Go with some relational database. Okay, then we'll prepare the third-party software license. Then go to preparing, okay, I have the reporting system and I have the customer care requirement. I have a lot of analytical, machine learning kind of integration required for this. And then I will go with analytics. Then we'll search in Google or something. Oh, what is analytic database with the top list from? I will go through DB engines. There is links are available like DB engines. Then we'll go, which is the best database for analytical workload. Correct. So then we will choose something like that. Then problem is finally what happened is maintaining this kind of database are very tedious task. Yeah. Then finally what we're doing is third generation, as we can see that some databases are available in the market. Yeah. To do this survey both like OLTP and OLAP and everything. Yeah. One database can do everything. Like whatever we are doing is data platform architecture, we can say we require real-time processing. Then next one is we need a data security. That is one of the key factor nowadays because based on my interaction with multiple customer, like in Middle East, they are not transferring the data from one place to another place. That's right. Mostly for cloud. Yep. They are always doing everything on premise. So they are not interested to move even one server to another server. They want a data security like encryption and I can say like that data masking. So many security feature, data governance, compliance, GDPR kind of compliance, kind of data security. Then we have a data lake and data kind of data warehousing solution. So one database can manage like, yes, I need to handle the OLTP transaction workload I have to handle. Along with I need to handle this data warehouse, data kind of data lake kind of solution. Then integration with different data sources with one ETL capability. That's right. Yeah. Then these are the main key features. And then machine learning integration. Yep. Yep. So the database, some database, yes, definitely they are providing some machine learning capabilities inside the database. We don't need to go for any kind of algorithm like we are using like in our one of the product like a CVM. We are calling as a CVM, customer value management. This kind of a product. What we are doing is mainly going to operator for identifying the customer behavior pattern to reduce the churn. So these are the main problem we are facing in the everywhere. Even we have Middle East and Africa, we have deployed multiple products like our CVM deployment. There we are using more on analytical platform with machine learning integration. Okay, so predictive analytics. Yeah. So behavior, understand that we are collecting all the data from the networks, customer usage information like data volume, like voice, SMS, some other SMSC related information we are collecting from the system. Then we are analyzing this each subscriber patterns, whether subscriber is like a normal data usage subscriber, or whether subscriber is a voice, morely using voice subscribing to so this our model, our analytical model will run on the background and filter out the right subscriber and giving the right offer to the right time.
Real time. Yeah.
The real time. So this is like we are playing with a huge volume of data. That is the one case. So how to manage everything in a one single platform?
Got it.
That is a challenge. So now third generation database have this capability.
Yeah.
That is why now we are here to discussing about this third generation. That is one of the.
I agree. Thank you, Anish, for that. I think coming to you, right, Venki, you guys have been a data pioneers, been there, been doing it. How far have you guys come across and trying to unify data and kind to enhance your data offering to your users?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult question, Alex.
Yeah.
When I joined the company 2 years back, I've done a data platform in my previous company. And as Anish was saying, I think where we were moving from a on-prem to, in my previous company, on-prem to cloud, and our customers were the similar enterprise customers, supply chain customers who are not ready to push their data. So when I joined a data company, which is a pure SaaS company, I thought the story will be different, right? Anticlimax, its challenges are the same as I was stating, right? So to answer you, I think we are still a long way to go. To your point, we are a data company. We are working on a data, terabytes of data and multiple things, but the challenges are still remains the same. What I mean by that is we are just starting maybe 6 months, 8 months back, started our own data platform development. Okay. So when I joined here, I was thinking, hey, I was working 3 years in my previous company, developing a data platform. I'm joining a data company, so everything will be clear and working. Absolutely not, okay. Right? And the reasons are different, obviously. The company was always a SaaS, but it bought a lot of other companies. DiscoverOrg bought ZoomInfo, then we bought a conversational engine called Chorus, and we bought multiple other companies comparably and many others, right? So, and all these companies came with disparate database systems, and ZoomInfo was actually very good in company data, and then DiscoverOrg, very good in personal data. So how do you combine, and he was talking about the join and merge, how do you bring all this together? We were far off, right? And these are purely from the company perspective in terms of the data that we had. And then we talk about, as Arvind was saying, like marketing data coming in. And then we also have the operational side where the customers are feeding their CRM data, right? So I'm talking about the internal data, then the customer data, the CRM data, and then the tenant-based where customers are creating their own workflows and things like that, right? So how do you bring all this to the famous thing, single source of truth, right? How do you bring on to that is a challenge.
Correct.
Without that, whatever AI applications we can develop above that, it's going to be always wanting, right? So I think the 6-7 months back when we really start, hey, we have to get on the Gen AI wagon and we have to release our first product within a year or 8 months that time. And that was our signals to actions motion that we spoke about. We felt without a ZDP, we call it a ZoomInfo data platform, we will not be able to succeed in the Gen AI era. Because all the decisions that we are going to, in a way, surface to our customers is going to be based on this data. And which database do you go to? Do you go to a Solar? Do you go to a Snowflake?
Right.
Do you go to a single store? Do you go to a MongoDB? Where are these data, right?
Correct.
So, and he touched upon a little bit on the data governance. When we bought these companies and geographical locations and multiple teams, both internal and customer data and so on, who owns this data, right? And where is the metadata that's coming and how do you merge it? How do you combine it? So I think the challenge is multiple ways that you face, and that's where we thought we have to build our data platform. Yes. I know we spoke about a little bit on like, is there a excellent solution on the third generation that we can, we tried a lot, right? And then we felt that the challenges that we had, no off-the-shelf database could, in a way, suffice those needs. So we started developing our own ZDP, and that's the base data platform that we are using as a single source of truth.
Perfect.
Is every data there? Not yet, right? Because like we are still figuring out as a company who all owns the data, the data pipe. See, one is identification data, then the metadata identification, then coming up with the data schemas. Should we go with the data mesh? Should we go to the data lake? What is the architecture you want to figure out? Then the whole data pipelines, right? Who feeds in where? How do you maintain it? So I think we are there in the first release that we released the Copilot. I would say we are 40-50% there in terms of the single source of truth. I would say, and also the GenAI feeds back you the data, right? So how do you get the feedback data? How do you merge it? How do you correct it? So I think the challenge is many of the companies, we are releasing our first GenAI offerings, but the feedback that's going to come in both our customers and from the AI itself, how are you going to use that to correct your data? And then is your architecture able to handle that volume? Which we are not ready yet. We are talking about our whole history of, I spoke about 1.5 billion data points. I spoke about tens of terabytes of data. That may not change humongously, but the AI feed and the customer feed is going to be humongous now. How are you going to get, for example, you send an email, you're giving a GPT type of a system. Every customer will have 10 licenses, and everybody is going to create hundreds of emails. How are you going to feed it back? How are you going to store it, right? And how are you going to learn from it? All that is the challenge I'm seeing. I think that's where our data platform needs to scale up. So that's where we couldn't figure out off-the-shelf third gen, right? So
I think to your point, I think it's very clear, right? Though you guys have been a data innovators, there is a clear need that you have to upgrade your data platform
we have to
really
innovate
power
and
this
yes, exactly,
AI
right.
application.
So,
I think Arvind, for you, you had the advantage of being a startup 4 years, so you don't have too many acquisitions or anything for you to build. So what was your strategy as you're trying to build out a modern data platform, probably kind of third generation and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, adding to like what Venkat said, right? That you need to have a single source of truth. I mean, if it's all in a single platform, then you can join the data and you can do a lot more things on top of that, right? And then if we want to build a very smart application, right? Then we need to extract a lot of domain-specific signals that is relevant for that domain, right? And something that like an AI agent that's sitting on top of it can kind of work on top of it, right? So I mean, I mean, I see Vinod in the audience, who was my first tech lead in Google. Even then, back then, I mean, it feels like signals is a new term, right? Even back then, it was like, okay, you want to, we were working on a new search ranking then, right? So it was more about, oh, can you get the location signal? Can you get the recency signal? Can you get other signal? And how can you improve the search ranking? Can you get the trending signal for any news article and so on, right? So similarly, you have to kind of pull out all the signals.
Correct.
It could be as simple as like an aggregation, like how many website sessions a particular account has engaged with, how many times it's seen a LinkedIn ad, or it could be even something more predictive like what's the ICP fit, right? Is it the right type of account given your historical data, or how likely are they to convert, right? So all of those signals, or other signals from third-party intent saying, oh, this company is just got funded, right? Even those signals you can get out of the box also from other places, but more domain-specific signals, you need to kind of pull everything, and if you have it on a single platform, it makes the job a lot easier.
I agree.
Because at least for a startup, right? Unless in a large company, you have to push it to a data warehouse, or you have to power it on Elasticsearch or some other place and multiple places, and then getting in all the data and then building those models there, or building all those signals out there and then pushing it back to the product, it becomes a very huge cycle. So that has kind of trying to keep everything closed has helped us. And we are hopeful that we'll be able to scale with this model.
Excellent, lovely. I think that's a great, I think probably an advice to every other engineers or founders here who's trying to build out a new data-led company, right? Anish, coming to your point where you kind of gave us a perspective on this 3-generation data, right? Today, there's so much of volume and variety of data, and there's like so many options is out there for founders and engineers to go and build. And in our conversation with a lot of the architects and engineers, the thinking today is, hey, or the messaging which is going out to the world is, you got to power your GenAI application. First itself, we are trying to bring this data together and make sense sort of at real time. But they've all gone ahead and built an architecture where they got a swim lane data store, the way you kind of articulated, right? But if you're in that direction and you have to move on to this 3rd generation of distributed SQL data store, how the direction is? Because like to Venki's point, these data system existed like many years, right? How that direction should be.
So in the telecom side, we are saying that we are mainly have the subscriber billing profile information and billing related financial informations and some network IN related, some call events. We can say the event data records. It's a kind of, whenever I'm having a call, I will get a CDR, call detail records. These are the 3 types of data we are managing. So normally, yes, when you are managing these are the 3 types of categories of data.
Yeah.
So profile informations, always I need to keep a kind of a high concurrency, kind of transactional, kind of immediate, like updates and frequent selects in the database level, I can say. These are coming. So I need to manage, categorize the data, like profile information is customer subscriber profile information is one category. And all the financial kind of reporting, a lot of financial kind of data will be there. That's a separate category. I will build a reporting kind of system. And third one is like kind of daily from the INs networks. We are getting a lot of CDRs that we are pulling into the third kind of data.
Yeah.
So this kind of data we are able to manage within this kind of third generation database because we are getting a real-time data with the help of the Kafka kind of streaming APIs.
Yes.
We are able to load immediately data ingestions. We are talking about the data ingestion to the database. It's a very tremendous kind of progress we are getting from the database side. So now, when you are interacting with different operators, first, along with this kind of data and performance, they are asking more about the high availability and cloud adoption.
Got it.
So most of the deployments from on-premise are moving to migrating to cloud.
Yeah.
Because of maybe the cost effective, maybe it'll be very
right.
difficult to manage. So, but some customers are not interested to move from that, as I said earlier.
Correct.
But high availability and the disaster recovery, these are the last topics whenever we are having a discussion with the customer.
Yeah.
Finally, they want the high availability. Suppose when you are managing with my cluster, database as a cluster, something have a failover is happening, how manage without, because these are the very, very business critical applications, what we are going with our online charging system. These are one of the key products, like a BSS side, business supporting system. Online charging system is a very, very critical business platform.
Yeah.
So any kind of like a request response window should be in a millisecond. There I can say nanosecond, but I'm expecting at least milliseconds.
That's
response is less than 10 milliseconds, 50 milliseconds. That is required based on our use cases and benchmarking.
Workload. Yeah.
So that we are able to getting from now with our third generation database, like distributed SQL database, what we are talking here.
Yeah.
So that is one key area. So like online charging system is one of the product, how to manage the transactions with the request response.
Correct.
And the last point I'm talking about the high availability, how to manage the high availability as a cluster and the disaster recovery. How to replicate, your one data center has one data center in Mumbai, another data center maybe in Delhi, so Bangalore. How you are managing, suppose one data center, something happened, so how you disaster, how you are managing your data center.
Correct.
So these are the key topics.
I agree.
Whenever interacting with every customer or operators, they want to, these are the basic kind of data platform. This is one of the 2 items on the data platform. Along with whatever I said earlier, like basic the security, integrations, real-time processings, and batch operations, all the critical area. So
yeah, thank you, Anish. I think coming back to you, right, Vasant, if you can you've been a database architect for the last 25 years, right?
Yeah.
So in your evaluation of some of the GenAI application you're building, can you talk about a little bit about that and how you have been choosing your modern data platform to support it?
Yeah. What we want is like, we don't want to use a separate, vector database or any, we want an inbuilt, like a system which can do multitasking, such as it should be able to do like real-time reporting as well as concurrent high performance reporting, as well as search capability, geospatial, time series, and whatnot. So for that, this is the requirement for the new age databases, and at the same time it should support, as the data volume is too huge, we want like a cost effective storage. Even this data platform should support like an object scale storage. So this is one of the major requirement. And even we are evaluating eventual consistency, some of the offerings that are available in the market, eventual consistency and auto failover. And like, able to run on Kubernetes and easy to deploy without any issues. So these are the main things that we are looking into. And we want to have something like a Snowflake or a Databricks on-prem. Because we have been a hardware manufacturer, and to use our own hardware, we have to pay to a cloud service provider. So that we don't want to do, and that's where like we have a strict to use unless until like if the data has to reside in a country, within a country due to some legal requirements. So we don't take a cloud service provider there. So this has been our journey, like our vision.
Thank you, Vasant, for that. Arvind, coming to you, right? So now we've been talking over a coffee about agenting apps, right, and building out on this modern platform. Can you give a point of view on that for the audience here?
Yeah, I think so. Agentic apps, as I think recently read an article by Dharmesh of HubSpot saying that modern software, I mean the current software which is out there is very complex, right? And you don't want the software, you want the outcome, right? And what this means is that basically the way you interact with software is will change, because now you have something out there which can understand you, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of generic, right? Now, how do you make it work for a particular domain, right? And how do you ensure that, like when you use a software, you're trying to do multiple things. You have to learn how to use it. You have to kind of figure out. You have to go through some training product, and then you have to set things up, and actually figure out what needs to be done using the product, and then get the action, right?
That's right.
So all of that can be taken care by an agent, which can understand what you want,
correct,
right? And kind of break it down. And the problem is, you give a question, it won't be able to kind of process it completely.
Yep.
So it needs to be broken down.
Yes.
And each task is broken down, and that can interact with your software, with your data and signals, reason, and then accomplish it, right?
Yes.
Like, and there are a lot of frameworks coming out for that to figure out, and even things which is done with more like using LLMs, also things that are done using refinement and multi-task approach is giving a lot more better results than single prompt engineering, right? So all of that. So basically, a lot of how you deal with your software will how you actually interact with the software will change dramatically.
Yes.
And for that to happen, your agents should be able to speak with LLMs, your data, your signal, and kind of break down with a lot of domain knowledge.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. And I think we're probably in the final minute. Venki, would you be able to give us a sense about what kind of GenAI applications or initiative you're building out in this new generation data platform?
Absolutely. I think some of the things we spoke about, right? So one is we are going towards a final frontier where SDRs, AAMs are minimalistic in what they do, right? In their manual work. So you can call it an AI SDR or an AI salesperson or a marketing person, right? So that's what we are getting to. That's our end goal. What it means is when an AEAM or SDR logs in, can he or she see automatically what are the target accounts prioritized should reach out to, and why are they prioritized? To your point, the real-time signals. Are these the customers who have got a funding, or they moved, or are they changing a technology stack, or there is a new C-level change that I need to talk to? These are the target accounts that I should be reached out to.
Correct.
And why are they prioritized? Because of their customer profile or signals that is providing that info that I'm confident of a hit rate of a higher hit rate, right? When I talk to them and spend time with them, am I going to really close the deal? That's the first one. The second is, what are the tools my AA can give? We talk about the calls, the automated emails, the automated calls, and when you get on a call and talk to them finally, how does the conversational AI can come in and look at the call and review the calls and give you signals to take actions on.
Yep.
And for example, the the 35th minute of the call, the customer spoke about an RFP that will be rolled out to the next week. So is there an automated workflow that's created to your contracts team that will trigger an question to, hey, is this an RFP being floated, right? So that you don't need to review, and obviously meeting minutes and all is all table stake, but how the conversational AI and the AI looks into the call and provides a workflow, right? And end of the day, all this comes into making your time efficient. And can you make sure that what you're working on is really adding value, right? And we spoke about the feedback loop that comes in. I did this action, what am I getting back? And how am I, in a way, continuously tuning my workflow? And last but not the least, one of the big things AI is providing is onboarding the customers. I'm sure marketing side and many others, right? Creating the ideal customer profiles, the target customers, and integration with the CRM, matching the fields to bring in the third-party data, and in a way enriching with my first-party data. All that is a complex, right? And it takes sometimes, for the enterprise customer, it takes weeks and months to onboard, and maybe SMBs and mid-market, it takes a little bit lesser time, right? So how do you make the onboarding whole process AI enable so that it's simpler and faster, right? So from onboarding of a customer to making sure that they can use the whole signals and intents and actions very much faster and efficiently. And last but not least, how do you learn from the feedback? I think it's an end-to-end story here.
I think couldn't agree more, Venky, on that. I think the crux of the conversation coming from our engineering leaders is, if you're building AI, GenAI app, you would need a third generation modern data platform, right? It has to be built in a unified way. It has to be built for speed and scale. I think that's almost a common theme coming here. Probably, I see some interested audience. Any questions, if you want to ask these engineering leaders, please go for it. Yeah, I think can we get him a mic, please?
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, go on.
Go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Bharat Raj. I'm founder of NeuroV.ai. We are working on conversational AI. So Venkat, I have a question for you. So you mentioned that you have like terabytes of data that ZoomInfo is handling, and you're now looking into Copilot-based approaches. So do you see some applications when you're having agentic LLMs, right? When you deploy them, do you see some issues with latency when you have such massive amount of data?
Absolutely,
or is it real time?
Yes, absolutely, yes. And but I think he touched upon a little bit on the eventual consistency and a real-time consistency, right? So that's what we are talking about. Some of these, yes, you will see delays right now, and it's a continuous tuning. And how much are you using racks, and how much are you tuning the data, and feedback data coming in? How do you learn from that? I think all that is in works. I think none of us has figured it out, but I think you have to be very clear on what is that latency for the customer, on what application is needed. When we talk about a conversational AI, what we call as a chorus in our side, that's an offering from us. You don't need those immediately, right? So no customer is saying, I finished a call immediately in a minute, give me the intents or create me a workflow, right? So thankfully, we are not in a medical field or anything that you need that real-time action. To your point, I think that's where we are okay. But as we get to more customer type of one of our customers creating an ICP or an ideal customer profile or tagging a new list, then that could be in a way reviewed by AI, extended and given to your other colleagues who are SDRs and AMs. That's a real-time ask, right? And maybe that's where we will start hitting those consistencies and in a way the challenges of the latency. But absolutely you're right, we do hit it, but it's from a milliseconds to seconds to minutes. I think we are not worried about it right now. And to your point, many of these LLMs and many of the AIs are not run in-house, so feed into a third party right now, and then they feed in data. So it's not our data alone or our latency alone in our pipeline. The third party that we are using who are actually running and feeding back you the intelligence is also you need to consider, right? So the end-to-end latency, absolutely you're right. I'm sure there's a lot more work to be done. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey guys. Myself Ashutosh. I'm just figuring out what to build next, but thinking of building an AI based agent. I have worked in 6sense and prior to that Slintel. So my question is basically, we are seeing a lot of Gen AI based agents being built out, right? SDRs, AEs. I don't know, like people are building AEs, but yeah, for sure SDRs, right?
Yes.
So the question is, like big platforms like ZoomInfo and others are actually focused on SDRs, right? They power XDR's workflow. So do you think like is it going to hit the business as well? Because now that we are seeing, okay, new boys are coming to town and they are basically giving AI agents for all the workflows. So is it going to like how? What are your thoughts on that front?
Absolutely, you are spot on. I think that's a talk that we talk every month, every quarter, as part of our strategy. Do we have a plan to be an full AE, AM enabler or a AI, AE, AM, right? To your point, we don't have the story figured out yet. We are concentrating right now on becoming an AI SDR and SDN enable. Is it going to hit other parts of the business? Absolutely yes, right? Because I think it's end of the day figuring out the workflows and what more can be done. And we haven't even touched the integration of the marketing and the sales, which are still disparate systems, and how the signals from the marketing gets into the sales, and how much intelligence of the marketing gets into the sales, and feedback from the sales, hey, your MQLs or BS, right? So all that to be figured out, and that's where a lot of white space is there that many companies can play in, right? To your point, AAMs and the marketings, can we make more and more automation or in a way bringing AI? Absolutely, I think there is. As you're spot on, though I mentioned AAMs, we are only concentrating at least the first releases and so on. For this quarter and maybe the first half of the year, we are only concentrating on the SDR AI side.
I had a follow-up question.
Yep.
I'm really sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
So we are also seeing a trend of like full cycle AEs, right? We are seeing that, okay, now most companies are cutting their budgets on SDRs, right? So do you think like in future, let's say 5 to 6 years down the line, will I remember there was one type of role which was LDR.
Correct.
Remember, like we used to have LDRs who were actually filtering down the data for SDRs, and they were doing the discovery calls. So do you think like these agent AIs will be able to replace the SDRs totally?
I think that's a discussion we had over coffee. It's too early to say, like you're asking, like, will some of these chatbots will replace your CSMs and CX guys? Not fully, right? There are enough the customer-facing, customer support bots in the world. Are they going to replace all your CSMs and CX? Not fully, right? And the same thing applies here. I think there will be a chance of making your manual AEs, AMs more intelligent. And same with SDR story, right? If I had a startup or an enterprise, I had 10 to 100 SDRs, maybe my number of SDRs will come down because we are looking at increasing the efficiency of the SDRs, my hit rate of the SDRs. You're not replacing them fully, right? I think we are far off from that. That's my take. I could be proven wrong. But same story on AAM's marketing, right? I think we are trying to give them the data, the right data at the right time that we spoke about, to make them more efficient. Not yet talking of replacing them or fully doing anything right.
And I saw that like ZoomInfo released Copilot. They like, you guys are not actually saying that we are releasing a AI agent per se.
Yeah, we can't. The same SDRs will stop using us, right? So absolutely yes, correct. So,
yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that makes sense. So probably we can take one final question. Yeah. Yes. I think we have got two hands, probably two final questions. Nothing, they're getting you the mic. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Srirang from Presto. We also work with telecom operators quite a bit. So my question is largely to Anish here. So you talked about how telcos have been trying to, or you guys have been trying to provide AI-based solutions to telcos. How open are telcos to this right now? Because we started off as a SaaS company. The moment we got to telcos, we had to do enterprise deployments on-premise. And a lot of things that we sort of assumed with the public cloud, just they go out of the window. So with anything to do with AI will not be very easy on-premise. We have to rely, at least from whatever I have done so far, we have to rely on a lot of cloud-based solutions, some SaaS product or some such service out there, a managed service to make things easier. How much telcos have warmed up to the idea of solutions based out of cloud, especially in the AI space, because that will mean pushing a lot of data back into the public cloud?
Our most of the products currently, I mentioned CVM, is running in on-premise. with the AI technologies, integration with it. But like in cloud, we can see like AWS have a lot of services are available, like in AWS platform. I think like Jupyter kind of things, notebook, and we can write a lot of machine learning. And our one of the products we are running in a cloud, like in AWS platform, with all the AWS. AWS have the services, like a lot of machine learning integration services are available. One of the terms I forgot that, like Jupyter workbook, that is a base things, and integration with the machine learnings. All the algorithms are available even in the database also. Whatever the database are service, even available, like you mentioned Redshift, documents, something like a database in AWS. So we are using AWS as a database as service. Some service database as services providing this kind of a machine integrations. Like we have mentioned, like vectors are one of the key features nowadays in third generation database vectors. These vectors are available in this AWS platform. We are using that.
Telcos have been okay with public cloud hosted solutions in general.
But very limited. I have told you now, because most of the telcos are actually, they are not moving into cloud. Okay, so most of our deployments are in on-premise, because mainly in Middle East, most of the customers, they are not moving into the cloud. So they want everything in on the premise or private cloud, something. The data will be secure, and they want this like AI integrations, machine learning or AI integration with our, even every products we are integrating with our AI technology, like mainly our BSS platform, business supporting system. There also they have some AI technology with sales and distribution. These are our key products, sales and distribution. Also how we are integrating with our sales and distribution with the CVM. CVM is customer value management. So that is only our business will grow. Every operator's business has grown with integrating with the 3 modules. One is the core billing system, along with the sales and distribution, then CVM. So these 3 more critical products are merging, then only the business growth will come. Otherwise, only I'm integrating, I'm just a deployment BSS. BSS deployments are happening, but other side is sales and distribution. Main business is happening through sales and distribution.
I agree.
That is one of the, you are right. Cloud, actually, there is limitations, but availability is there.
One quick follow-up. With ARPU falling largely with telcos across the globe, and they're struggling to increase their bottom line. So again, once again, how much of a budgetary allocations are you seeing across telcos for such kind of advanced technology deployments? So any general trend that you are seeing there?
Once again, I didn't get exactly what is it?
So with the ARPU, average revenue per user for telcos,
ARPU, yes,
it's falling across the globe from what we see. So then how do you see the budgetary allocations that telcos are doing for such advanced AI-based technologies? Do you see them actually investing in something like this?
It is not, we are not investing. When you are deploying, we will see there is a management service, there is a separate team will be there. They will understand the existing geographical area. They will go through the area and understand what is happening in the particular area. Suppose, for example, we have a deployment in suppose X country, I have the deployment. So before we are deploying our product, they have separate team will be there. They will understand the overall geographical, where is the network, and the growth is like a network. Normally we are facing like this. I am getting not an Airtel network, very low here, or Vodafone, or like they are doing the ground level analysis. What are the problems we are facing, which area? They will go to the complete analysis and come up with the figure. Okay, what kind of problems the customer is facing? How we can increase the ARPU? So we will do a detailed analysis before we are deploying, and accordingly we are along with sitting with the particular operator side, they are within the business team, understand what kind of campaign we can publish. We can next month, okay, suppose Christmas is or something, any kind of festival is starting, what kind of campaign we can plan. So this kind of detailed analysis has to do before we are promoting a campaign. Then only we can do something incremental like the ARPU kind of things, business.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.